we are beginning to have conversations in this country that we hesitated having around privilege, around justice, around racism, and a true acknowledgement of our past.
I think a great opportunity for impact just on the American public would be for the average American to understand that there were and are people here who are indigenous to this land. And no matter where you go in the United States, it's indigenous land.
When you remove people from places that they've been for forever, you start to lose the identity. That erasure, it's happening all around America. So as we're revitalizing, are we also revitalizing people's lives in the process, or are we just shifting to a different narrative and not helping those individuals to grow with the neighborhood?
We are being torn at the seams in this country and around the world because we are not taking an aggressive enough conversation to really talk about what happens to people of color when they don't have the kind of money that they need to be able to live.
Talent is evenly distributed, opportunity isn't.
We're again locked into situations where privileged people with access to education, access to other things, will tell you is their virtuous utilization of these things they have access to that have elevated them to where they are, and that other people could do the very same thing, but we can eke out a little charity so that they can stay alive. And that's insufficient, and that won't change the world.
This is the highest wealth concentration in human history, and it's not by accident, it's by design and intention. So what would it look like for this private wealth to play a part in repairing relationships with land, in repairing relationships with people who have been exploited for this wealth generation?
So the question is, do we believe that in this population, in this demographic, there's some talent? Do we believe there's some innovation, some creativity like there are in other communities?
The only way in which we're going to be able to kind of shift the systems in society is if we have a fundamental rethink about how we think about asset allocation.
What would it look like if corporations paid a livable wage and above and beyond? What would it look like if they invested in climate change? What would it look like if they cared for a whole person's needs? They wouldn't necessarily have all of this excess that then becomes available to philanthropy.
We have to reconcile what we intellectually understand about race, power, and privilege, and then also feel it in our bodies, in our hearts.
I have mixed feelings about a racial equity track, to be perfectly honest. I wish that we were in a place in America where it wasn't needed, but we're not there yet.
Each one of us has an obligation to this work. Don't ask people of color to do this work for you. Do it in partnership. That's the only way this is going to be meaningful and the only way that it'll last.